Hello everyone. So the author today we have Sarojini Naidu. She is one of the most influential women in India. She lived from 1879. Her lifespan was from 1879 to 1949. So you can see that she lived around a life of 70 years. Sarojini Naidu, she is also known by the sobriquet the Nightingale of India. She was an Indian independence activist. She was a poet also. Besides it, she was a politician. She was a great orator. She was a good. She was an administrator also. So all those things you would see in her. So first of all, we have introduction to the poetess. She was born on 30th Feb, and her birthday is celebrated as Women's Day in India. Why so? Why is this celebrated on 30th Feb? Because it was her birth date. You know, the International Women's Day falls on 8th of March, but that is international. But in India, you would see that Women's Day is celebrated on the birth date of Sarojini Naidu. That was called, who was called the Nightingale of India. Okay, so in this way you can see that she was one of the most famous women in India in the 20th century. So she was born in Hyderabad at Agorinath Chattopadhyay's well-to-do family. It was a well-to-do Brahmin family. Mr. Agorinath Chattopadhyay, he ran a college which was later on called Nizam's College. He founded that college and he administered that college as well. So, Mother Brada Sundari Devi, and her brother Harindranath Chattopadhyay, they were also poets. Birendranath Chattopadhyay, he was one of her another siblings, and he was a revolutionary. Okay, so she is also known by the sobriquet the Nightingale of India. As I told you earlier that she was one of the most influential women in India in the 20th century, and that is why, because of her fame, she was made the first Indian woman president of Indian National Congress. She became the first Indian woman president of Indian National Congress. And later on, she also became the governor of Uttar Pradesh state as well. So if we talk about Sarojini Naidu, at the age of 16, she went to England to study, and there she married Dr. Govinda Rajulu Naidu. So Dr. Govind Naidu, he belonged to another caste, but he was a doctor by profession. He was a non-Brahmin. So both of them, they fell in love with each other. Both reciprocated each other's love, and Mr. Govind Naidu, he came across her and he told her things. He told her that he doesn't belong to her caste, but Sarojini Naidu, she belonged. I would say that she enjoyed an open atmosphere at her home as well. Her upbringing was done by her progressive thinking father. In those days, intercaste marriages were not allowed. But her father, Mr. Agorinath Chattopadhyay, he was a progressive thinking person, and I mean he didn't care about the people, he didn't care about the society. So in this way, both of them, they got married because of her father. So it was a happy marriage. If we talk about our heroine's political career, so there she also as she was a great patriot. So she served as a freedom fighter. She wrote poems to motivate people, to motivate the freedom fighters. So it was Mr. Krishna Gokhale who advised her to write to rejuvenate the freedom struggle while she was imitating Keats. So in those days she was imitating Keats, and the Keats impression you would find in her writings everywhere. Many at many places you would see that you are reading, you would feel that you are reading John Keats. I mean, uh, even the vocabulary, the poetic diction of her poetry belongs to Keats to some extent, but that doesn't mean that she is wholly European. I would say that she also revives the Indian spirit as well. That is what Arthur Symons has to say. So Mr. Arthur Symons and Edmund Goose, they were renowned critics in those days, and they extended their guidance for her. Mr. Arthur Symons, he took her poems in his hands and he read them. He made necessary corrections as well. He advised her, and he made her publish those poems. Actually, before Arthur Symons had motivated her, Sarojini Naidu wrote only for herself. She didn't like she didn't feel like publishing them, and that is why Arthur Symons came in her life and he motivated her. So it was Arthur Symons who made her publish her poems. Okay, so she was proficient in Urdu, Telugu, English, Bengali, and Persian also. So the first poetic work we have is The Golden Threshold, which was published in 1905. So before talking about this, I must tell you that our poetess, that is Sarojini Naidu, she enjoyed the company of great Mahatma Gandhi ji as well. Mahatma Gandhi, he also, just like Krishna Gokhale, advised her to rejuvenate the Indian spirit. This is what was done by Mahatma Gandhi as well, and that is why you would see that she is also influenced by Mahatma Gandhi also. Okay, so that is why in some of the works you would feel that the independence of India has become the heart and soul of her work. Okay, so the first poetic work we have, The Golden Threshold, which was published in 1905. The work was published with an introduction by Arthur Symons. You must remember that this work was published with an introduction by Arthur Symons, but it was Edmund Goose to whom this work was dedicated. So the Golden Threshold was dedicated to Edmund Goose. Both of them, they were renowned critics. Okay, so ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਆਪਾਂ golden threshold ਦੀ ਜੋ ਆਪਾਂ introduction read ਕਰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣ ਚ ਮਿਲੇਗਾ ਕਿ the conversations which took place between Arthur Symons and Sarojini Naidu, the letters which were shared. So he also quotes from them video introduction of the which. Okay, so in Golden Threshold we have several poems which are famous. So वो सारे poems की नहीं भी आप इधर रख लें. So in this poetry collection there were 40 poems. So the number of the poems was 40. Okay, so the first poem we have the Palanquin Bearers. So Palanquin Bearers कौन है भी? Palanquin bearers are the people who are carrying the palanquin. So you know that in the traditional India there was a trend that a bride, she was taken to her in-laws home after the wedding in a palanquin. That is what we call palki or doli as well in Hindi or Punjabi, isn't it? So in this poem, a bride is being taken to her in-laws home after the wedding in a palanquin. And so in this way, in this poem, you would see that there are a number of similes. So the palanquin bearers, they are carrying the bride in the palanquin, in the palki, and they are carrying her without any discomfort. I have placed the actual poem here so that so that you would be able to read that as well. Okay, so we shall be reading the poem. Actually, we shall summarize it briefly. Lightly, oh lightly, we bear her along. That means they are carrying her without any discomfort. They are carrying the bride. She sways like a flower in the wind of our song. That means she moves like a flower. She moves like a flower moves when the wind blows. She skims gently like a bird. In this way, you can see that her tenderness is denoted in the poem. दिखाया जा रहा है कि जो लड़की है, जो ब्राइड है, वो कितनी ज्यादा की हैगी टेंडर है. She floats like a laugh from the lips of a dream. That means she's taken, she's being carried away without any discomfort. They're taking her slowly and steadily. So gaily, oh gaily, we glide and we sing. So while they are moving slowly, while they are uh, while they are carrying her without any discomfort, they are also praising her beauty through their songs. So in the last of the in the last line of the stanza, she has been called a pearl. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. So she has been called a pearl. So this thing, it also denotes the swift movement of a pearl on a string. You know, जो pearl होती है, pearl ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ string ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਜੋ thread ਹੁੰਦਾ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ slowly move ਕਰਦਾ ਹੈ. Similarly, she is also being taken away to her in-laws home without any discomfort. So softly, oh softly, we bear her along. They are taking her, they are carrying her slowly. Same thing. She hangs like a star in the dew of our song. That means she has been called a star in a dewy night. So they call her a star. She springs like a beam on the brow of the tide. That means uh, she has been, she shines like the sea waves shine in a moonlight, isn't it? So similarly, she has this type of radiance, है ना. जो ਉਹ ਵਾਲੀ radiance ਕੀ ਉਸਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਦੀ ਉਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ radiance ਹੈਗੀ. She falls like a tear from the eyes of a bride. That means though she is leaving her home, still she is happy. She is moving swiftly. She has hopes. So lightly, oh lightly, we glide and we sing. We bear her along like a pearl on a string. So the same sentence has been repeated. The same line has been repeated in the last in the stanza. So actually, whenever there is a repetition, it is called a refrain. Refrain की ਹੁੰਦਾ हैगा refrain. You can see that we wear her along like a pearl on a string in the first stanza and at the end of second stanza as well. The same sentence has been repeated. This is called refrain. So refrain ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ a repetition is used to place emphasis on a set of words or an idea within a poem, है ना. सेम सेंटेंस भी कहेगा ओके बार बार उस चीज ਨੂੰ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾਗਾ ਕਿ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ emphasis ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾ ਸਕੇ ਇਸ ਸੈਂਟੈਂਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ so in this way you would see that she has been called pearl again and again she has been called pearl again and again okay so in this way she is being praised so this was the poem palanquin wearers so the next poem we have Indian weavers so I believe we should be reading the actual poem weavers weaving at the break of day. Why do you weave a garment so gay? Blue as the wing of Halcyon wild, we weave the robes of a newborn child. So the uh, the weavers they are being questioned three times through the weavers all the important stages of our lives are shown. Firstly at dawn they are questioned what do they weave, why your garment is so gay. Gay means something which is uh, really catches the eye है ना ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆਈਜ਼ ਕੈਚ ਕਰਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆਂਗੇ so weavers weaving at break of day. Why do you weave a garment so gay? Blue as the wing of Halcyon wild, we weave the robes of a newborn child. So firstly at dawn they were weaving the robes of an infant. They were weaving clothes. They were weaving shining clothes, glistening clothes for an infant, for a newborn child. And then secondly at the fall of night when it was a night they were weaving something so then again they are questioned why do you weave a garment so bright just like the the robes of newborn child this garment is also bright like the plumes of a peacock purple and green we weave the marriage wheels of a queen. So in the second stanza you would see that they are weaving the wheels of a queen at the fall of a night. So the night stands for the marriage. At the break of day, the beginning of the day, you know, it symbolizes the morning symbolizes the birth. The night symbolizes the peak of someone's life. Thirdly, at midnight, they are weaving a white shroud. Weavers weaving solemn and still. What do you weave in the moonlight chill? Chill, moonlight means uh, the coldness. The cold thing stands here for death. White as a feather and white as a cloud. So this time the cloth they are the garment they are weaving. It is white as a feather and white as a cloud. It is so white. We weave a dead man's funeral shroud. So you know obviously in this way you can see that the three stages, all the three important stages of our lives are shown from our beginning to our peak and then there is our downfall. Okay, so this was the poem Indian Weavers that was published in the so the next poem we have Coromandel Fishers. So in this poem you would see that the fishermen they have been denoted. The fisherman actually this stands for all the Indian people I would say, though she wrote she belonged to Bengal, sorry not Bengal but she belonged to Hyderabad and those states they enjoy uh, their borders with the sea. So obviously you would see that there are fishermen. The fishermen they are fearless, strong because they face the dangers of the sea with courage. I mean, you need a lot of courage to be a fisherman. You know, you have to go to the beach, you have to go to the sea, you have to face the tides. Many a times, uh, many of the fishermen they drown in the waters, isn't it? So in this way, you can. I mean, we need a lots of courage to be a fisherman. You might have read An Old Man in the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. So in this work, so us work ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਸੀਗਾ? In that work you would see that Santiago, he was a great man, he was a brave man, isn't it? Can you remember that thing? He says that a man can be killed, a man can be destroyed, sorry, a man can be destroyed but can never be defeated. This is what he has to say. So in this poem, the poetess says, actually it is at the break of the dawn, she is asking, the poetess is asking all the fishermen to wake up, so that they would, what would they do? They would rise, they would wake up, and they would, would they do? They would wake up and go to the sea, and they would set their catamarans free. So she says, rise brothers, rise, isn't it? Come, let us gather our nets and set our catamarans free. He says that we should go to the sea. That means we should face the British people, and we should free our country and set our catamarans free to capture the leaping wealth of the tide, for we are the sons of the sea. She says that the nature has a lot to give to us. The nature possesses a lot, and the British, they are looting it from our land, and that is why we are the sons of the sea. This sea is our mother, this sea is our father, it belongs to us. It must not be controlled by the British people. So she asked them to hasten, she asked them to make it faster. The ones who tackle storms will survive in this world. You know, the storms, they stand for the British people. The storms stand for the British uh, criminal mindset. It stands for the British imperialism. So she says that the only ones who can tackle storms, they would be able to survive in this world. Just like Charles Darwin says, survival of the fittest. है ना? The sea is our mother, the cloud is our brother, the waves are our comrades all. So in this way, in this thing, you can see that the Indianness is shown. एक Indianness है कि इस चीज दे विच के you know, we as Indians, we are accustomed to make relationship with the nature as well. You know, we call this land our mother, we call uncle to the moon. Moon is uncle, our uncle, है ना? The sun is our father, this earth is our mother. So in this way you can see that अपने एक relationship बनाने दी आदत है Indians दी. The sea is our mother, the cloud is our brother, the waves are our comrades all. Okay, so this is why she says that the sun has arisen, and the fishermen, they must wake up, because it is time for them to gather their nets from the shore, and then they should go to make their catamarans free. They should make their rafts free. ਜਿਹੜੇ raft ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ free ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾਗਾ, so that they would go to the sea, and then they would there they would do the fishing. You know, the fishermen, they do not have any fear of drowning, because they feel that the sea god will protect them. This is what has been written in the poem. Then she says that the earth is really beautiful, the shade of coconut trees, the scent of mango grove tree, everything is beautiful, but freedom will be more beautiful. She says that all those things, they have everything, be it the shade of coconut trees, uh, be it the scent of mango grove tree, but this thing, the freedom, it will be better. It will be more beautiful. Row, brothers, row to the blue of the worlds, where the low sky meets with the sea. That means they need freedom. So they keep on rowing so that they would be able to free their country. That is India. So the next poem we have the village land. Just like the previous one, just like the Indian weavers, I would say. Just like the Indian weavers, in this poem as well, there is a questioning and the there are questions and there are answers. The mother is questioning and the daughter, she is answering. So there is a dialogue between an Indian mother and daughter regarding her marriage. Actually, she does not want to get married. She is bedecked beautifully, she is wearing all the jewelry, but still she is not happy. And that is why she is going to run from the wedding. She is escaping the wedding. Okay, wedding to क्यों भज जाना चाहती है. But obviously, being a mother, she does not want her child to run. So she asks her that whether she would leave her mother who has fed her, she would leave her mother on golden grain. This is what she says. Golden grain means, you know, golden grain stands for the ripening of a crop. आजकल की अगर देखो भी wheat ਦਾ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. ਵੀਟ ਦੇ ਸੀਜ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਜੋ ਉਸਦੀ ਬੱਲੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਪੱਕ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਆਲਮੋਸਟ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਪੱਕ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ 골ਡਨ ਕਲਰ ਦੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਦਿਸ ਇਜ਼ ਵਟ that is what stands for her old age. Okay, so she says that you would you leave your own mother on a golden grain who has fed you, who has brought you up. So then she also says that would you leave your husband who is coming to wed you, who is coming to marry to you, है ना? So then she says that would you cast your jewels to the breezes blowing. I mean, she says that would you throw your jewelry which you are wearing, है ना? So to these questions the daughter answers. She says that I am going to the forest. There are champa birds, they are blowing there. She is going to the forest where champa trees are laden with champa birds, and there are beautiful flowers alongside a river. He says uh, all these things, they are beautified by the songs of a koel. There is a koel haunted river. That is what she says in the poem. Okay, koel haunted river isles. And then there are, she says that there are also lotus lilies are also there. So the beautiful side of a jungle, of a forest has been denoted in this poem. So then again the mother questions. She says that you must not leave this life, because this life is full of bridal songs. There are cradle songs, and then there is sandal scented leisure. These are the three things. I haven't written it there, sorry for that. She says that there are bridal songs, that means the songs of marriage which are being sung at this moment. Then there will be cradle songs. Cradle means chula jo जिस दे विच बच्चे ਨੂੰ खिलाया ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਉਹ songs होंगे. Obviously she will become a mother after her marriage. And then there will be sandal scented leisure. Sandal scented leisure means जो you know, when a person dies in Hinduism, when a person dies, you know, जो चंदन ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਵੀ ਚੰਦਨ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ sticks ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਆਂਦੇ ਨੇ and they are burnt, havans are done there. Okay, so then that is why it stands for the death. Okay, so then again the daughter answers. The daughter says, She mentions these songs, be it the cradle songs, be it the bridal songs, or be it sandal scented leisure. She says that all those songs, they symbolize death, but in the life, the life in the jungle, it is forever. It is near the nature, and that is why she does not want to live there. And that is why at the end of the poem she leaves the house. Her mother has stopped, her mother has tried her best to stop her, but she does not stop. Okay, so this was the poem Village Song. So in this poem you would see that a bond of a woman with nature is shown. You know, uh, many of the feminist critics, they also feel that the nature, or be it earth, or the nature or the earth, both are women. So similarly, in this way, you would see that a relationship, a motherly relationship with the nature is shown in this poem. Besides, you would see that the Indian culture, the Indian traditions are also shown there. She's escaping all those things because they are full of patriarchy and a lots of other things. I mean, she does not want herself to be involved in these type of customs, these types of traditions, these types of duties. So she wants to free herself, and that is why she leaves the house and she goes to jungle. Okay, so that was the poem Village Song. So the next work we have Cradle Song. You would see that in all her poems there are symbols, and those symbols, they are repeated again and again. She says, we shall be reading the poem directly. From the groves of spice, over fields of rice, athwart the lotus stream. From the groves means trees. From the trees of spice, over fields of rice, athwart, that means on the other side, beyond. Okay, athwart the lotus stream, I bring for you a glint with dew, a little lovely dream. So these scenes, these images are used in this poem, be it the groves of spice, spice the trees ne, rice the fields ne, lotus streams ne, the streams which are filled with lotus. I bring to you a glint with dew. Glint means shining. Okay, so all those things, all those images she brings to her child so that he will be able to dream properly. Actually, it is a lullaby, which is a quiet and gentle song which is sung to send a child to sleep. The mother is trying to lull her child to sleep. एक तरीके ਦੀ ਲੋਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪ ਜੋ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਾ ਕੇ ਕੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ. She uses ample beautiful images to help the child visualize them, and ultimately the child closes his eyes. Sweet, shut your eyes. The wild fireflies, fireflies means jugnu, glowworms, dance through the fairy neem. So you would see that the beautiful uh, the beautiful country imagery has been used in this poem. I would say beautiful Indian country imagery has been used. The village side imagery is used in this poem. From the poppy bowl, for you I stole a little lovely dream. So in this stanza you see that the wild fireflies are there. Fairy neem tree है जिसਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਨੇ fireflies ਕੀ ਨੇ dance ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ. So you would see that this is a beautiful scene. You जिसने भी ग्लो वॉर्म देखे होंगे उन्हें पता कि रात ਨੂੰ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਜੁਗਨੂ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਜਗਮਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜੁਗਨੂ ਨੇ ਜਗਮਗਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ, the scene becomes really beautiful. Dear eyes, good night. In golden light, the stars around you gleam. On you I press with soft caress a little lovely dream. Caress means soft kiss, है ना? So this is what she has to say. The next poem we have Autumn Song. I would say that this is one of her gravest poems. You know, just as the autumn has rendered the world a weak, torn and sad place, the poetess is also very alone and sad. Okay, so she wants to be swayed like the leaves. So visibly there is Keats' impression in the poem. We shall be reading the poem and then you would understand it properly. Autumn song. Like a joy on the heart of a sorrow. At the heart of a sorrow means you know that joy, it cannot stay for so long at the heart of a joy, at the heart of a sorrow. Okay, the sunset hangs on a cloud. The sunset is already there. That means the sun is about to set, and after that there is a night. So this thing, it shows, it presents a universal theme of change. Don't we often say that the change is the only constant phenomenon world ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ change ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੀ permanently ਰਹੇਗੀ otherwise everything is temporary in this world a golden storm of glittering sheaves golden storm means ਜਦੋਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤਾਦਾਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੋਣ glittering sheaves ਕਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਮਝਾਵਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ sheaf ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਵੀ sheaves ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ actually it is a bunch of cereal crops be it wheat or any other crops ठीक है they are uh, cut from their stems and then they are bound together okay ਪੁਰਾਣੇ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਘੜੀ ਤੇ ਕੀ we have combines and lots of things but in the old days what in the ancient days the farmers what would they do they would cut their crops and then they would beat them ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਸੋ ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਭਰੀ ਬਣਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਉਸਦੀ ਇੱਕ ਗੱਠ ਬਣਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕ੍ਰੌਪਸ ਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਸੀਗੇ ਕੁਝ ਕੁ ਕ੍ਰੌਪਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਟੈਮ ਸੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਾਈਂਡ ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪੱਥਰ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਨਾਲ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਫਸਲ ਸੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੱਢੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਸੀ ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਉਹ ਭਰੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਸ਼ੀਫ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹਨ okay so it is a bunch of cereal crops and their stems are bound together of fair and frail and fluttering leaves the wild wind blows in a cloud she says the poetess says that the leaves are fluttering they are frail that means fluttering means uh, uh, when the wind blows the leaves they flutter ਜਿਹੜੇ leaves ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ flutter ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕੰਬਦੇ ਨੇ ਹਨਾ ਸੋ ਦਾ ਉਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ wind ਦੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਕੀ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ leaves ਕੀ ਨੇ ਉਹ flutter ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ the wild wind blows in a cloud hark to a voice that is calling to my heart in the voice of the wind my heart is weary and sad and alone for its dream like fluttering leaves have gone and why should I stay behind so the poet she is saying to herself she says that my heart is weary sad and alone so you see that there is loneliness in the poem the poetess is really alone she is feeling the loneliness and that is why she is feeling lonely and that is why she wants to leave this world so just like uh, the leaves which are torn from the stems the leaves who do not belong to the trees now who are turning yellow ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਪੱਤੇ ਨੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੀਲੇ ਪੈ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਸੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਪੋਇਟ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਉਹ ਇਸ ਵਰਲਡ ਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ and why should I stay behind so you see that there is P.B. Shelley's and John Keats impression in this poem okay you might have read Ode to the West Wind so similar thought to some extent is there in this poem as well to a Buddha seated on a lotus lotus means kamal the flower the poet simply contrasts the peace and perfection of the Buddha with mutability and sorrow of human life the poetess she says that Buddha Lord Buddha he possesses a kind of calmness the calmness Lord Buddha experiences is beyond our understanding it is beyond one's understanding nobody can understand the calmness the serenity the peace Lord Buddha enjoys Actually Lord Buddha he represents an enlightened state, ਇੱਕੋ state ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿਊਮਨ ਲੋਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਸਮਝ ਸਕਦੇ, you know, just like a lotus flower, it blooms in the garbage, ਇਹ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਗੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਖਿੜਦਾ ਗਿਆ flower. Similarly the world has lots of garbage, the world has a lots of vulgarity, the life in itself is vulgar, but still Lord Buddha, he is sitting on this flower and he is enjoying this type of I would say he is enjoying exceptional peace while sitting on this flower. So there is deep peace in his ecstatic face. एक piece है ਜਿਹੜੀ कि Lord Buddha enjoy कर रहे हैं. So there is no need to read the poem, just remember this much information and remember that this poem was published in the Golden Threshold. Okay, so next she published her second poetry collection, that was The Bird of Time, Songs of Life, Death and the Spring, which was published in 1912. So 2003 ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ poetry collection ਹੈਗੇ ਵੀ mainly, and you must remember the publication date of them as well. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪਬਲਿਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਡੇਟ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੰਪੋਰਟੈਂਟ ਹੈ, ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨੇ ਦੋ ਤਿੰਨ ਹੀ ਵਰਕਸ ਨੇ, ਐਂਡ that is why I mean there is not so much to study in this poetry collection. It is also a poetry collection. It consists of 4 chapters which contain 47 poems, and most of these poems are patriotic ones, you know. As I told you earlier that Gopal Krishna Gokul, he made her write patriotic poems. She was a great patriot. So the first poem we have In the Bazaars of Hyderabad. So in this poem the rich Indian tradition is shown. The poetess she questions merchants, vendors, maidens, peddlers, goldsmiths, magicians and many others about what they are selling, what they are making, what they are playing ਨਾ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਵੀ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਆ ਜੋ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਆਨਸਰ ਕਰਦੇ, be it the merchants, be it the vendors or maidens, ਜੋ ਵੀ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਕੁਐਸਚਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਵੇਚ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹ ਕੀ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਮਰਚੈਂਟਸ ਨੂੰ ਓਬਵੀਅਸਲੀ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, what they are selling, and they say that we are selling the turbans, है ना. ਹੋਰ ਸਾਰੇ vendors ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ what they were selling, they say that they are selling tunics, they are selling mirrors, they are selling daggers. So you see that ਇੱਕ ਜੋ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਮਾਰਕੀਟ ਹੈ ਮੇਨਲੀ ਹੈਦਰਾਬਾਦ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਐਕਸਪਲੋਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈਗਾ, ਐਂਡ ਥਰੂ ਹੈਦਰਾਬਾਦ the rich Indian heritage is shown. Besides it, the multicultural identity of India, the secular India is shown. Okay, so then vendors ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ what were they are selling, they say that they are selling saffron, lentil, they are selling rice. She also questions the maidens what they were making, what they were grinding, and they say that they are grinding sandalwood, they are grinding henna, that means mehndi, है ना, and spice. बहुत सारी चीज़ें किन्ने हो कर रहे हैं. Okay, then ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੈਡਲਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਪੈਡਲਰ ਮੀਨਸ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਗਲੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਵੇਚਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ. she questions them as well, है ना, and ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕੀ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੇਚਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ. So all of them they offer a variety of items including turbans, tunics, mirrors, daggers, spices, rice, chessmen, wristlets, anklets, rings, bells, girdles, citrus fruits, flowers, etc. girdles ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਇਹ ਵਾਲਾ ਨਿਊ ਵਰਡ ਸੀ. girdles ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੈਲਟ ਟਾਈਪ ਕੁਛ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਪਹਿਨਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਕਮਰਬੰਦ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਇਟ ਇਜ਼ ਮੇਡ ਆਫ ਗੋਲਡ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. ਸੋ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੇ ਗੋਲਡ ਸਮਿਥਸ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਨੇ ਪੋਇਟਸ what do you make, है ना, and the goldsmiths they reply that they are making wristlets and anklets also, है ना. So ये सारे चीजें की they are also making girdles for the dancers. Okay, then there are fruit vendors, there are flower girls. उन सारे की questions पूछे हैं. So actually why this poem has been written, this poem was written to encourage Indian to buy Indian things, you know. in those days, what was the case that the British, they were taking over our markets. The British things, they were being sold in India. You know, the English people, they came in India to trade, and then they started ruling us slowly. So because of that thing, the Indian laborers and uh, Indian merchants, goldsmiths or whatever it is, है ना, all the workers, they were not able to get the work. Their things were sold at a cheap price, and it was really becoming difficult for them to make both ends meet. I mean, you know, they worked to earn a bread, but even this thing was becoming difficult for them under the rule of British people, and that is why she encourages Indian to buy Indian products. You know, 1912 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਸ-ਪਾਸ ਕੀ ਜੋ poems publish ਕੀਤੇ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ discourse ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਨਾ। ਬਾਅਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਨॉन ਕੋਆਪਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮੂਵਮੈਂਟ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਬਾਈ ਗਾਂਧੀ ਜੀ, ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਆਲਰੇਡੀ ਡਿਸਕੋਰਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼। ਓਕੇ, ਸੋ then we have the Broken Wing, that is another poetry collection by her, Songs of Love, Death and Spring, which was published in 1917. So it is a poetry collection. The phrase broken wing refers to Naidu's chronic illness and her disappointment with the outbreak of communal strife in India. You know, uh, in those days, uh, Muslim League and uh, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh and all those things, they were coming into existence. You know, in 1905, the Bengal state, it was also divided, though it became it rejoined India in 1911, but ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ communal strife ਸੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੀ ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ। You know, since ages we have religious differences with each other, and because of them, because of those religious differences, we have started hating our own brothers, our own neighbors as well. So ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਿਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਵੱਧ ਗਈ ਸੀ। So that is why the phrase broken wing, it stands for Naidu's chronic illness and also of communal strife in India. She claims that despite a broken wing, her commitment to India's independence remains unwavering. Though there are so many problems in India, but she feels that India will be independent one day. So the next poem in this book is The Gift of India. There is no need to read the poem. The poem is narrated by Mother India. Just remember this much information which I gave to you. She is grieving as her sons are getting martyred against the imperialist Britain, and she cannot bear the weight of corpses. You know, in those days we see that so many groups, so many revolutionary groups, they came across and they started fighting the British. You know, obviously the British had lots of machinery. They were using our own people as mercenaries ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ paid worker ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ, paid ਫੌਜੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ। They were using our people as paid mercenaries, and they were killing our own brothers, and that is why there was a lots of bloodshed. And our mother India, our India, the land of India, it is, there is lots of bloodshed, and she cannot bear this pain. She cannot bear the weight of corpses, you know. So this is what there is in the poem. Just remember this much information. This is what the summary of the poem is. Then we have The Feast of Youth, which was published in 1918. She also wrote Muhammad Jinnah only, and Ambassador of Unity, which was published in 1960. So you can see, though Muhammad Ali Jinnah was the main person who went for Pakistan, who wanted Pakistan, but you can see that this poem was published in 1916. So in those days, the talks about Pakistan was not so much, है ना? They were not so in that discourse ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇਸ ਲੈਵਲ ਤੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ ਸੀ, and that is why she wrote Muhammad Jinnah. I believe if the work was published in 1980s, in 1940s or something, है ना? On those days you would see that uh, uh, I believe that her views would have been changed. Then the Sacred Flute Songs of India. It contains the complete poetic works by Sarojini Naidu, The Feather of the Dawn, which was published in 1961. There are total 37 lyrics. So thank you very much. This was Sarojini Naidu.